All right, everyone, let's talk Disney's newest live-action film, Mulan. Now, Mulan was released on Friday on Disney Plus for those who purchased Premier Access after a long-awaited release. Obviously, it was originally supposed to be in theaters in March, and then, wouldn't you know, COVID happened, and month after month went by, no movies were coming out. Now we finally got it. But we didn't get the theatrical release we originally thought we would, but we are given the opportunity to watch it on Disney Plus at home. Now, there's been a lot of people trying to decide if it's worth the price tag, if it's not. My husband and I decided to purchase Premier Access, not only because we're huge Disney fans, but we also want to support the movie industry. We want the opportunity to see new movies right now, and we aren't going to the theaters, so we really wanted to partake in this. I do think it was worth the $30. If we went to the movie theater, we would easily spend that when, we get our tickets, and with the fees and everything, it usually ends up being $30 anyways. Now, I can watch Mulan as much as I want. And yes, it will be available for all Disney Plus subscribers in December, but I haven't had a new movie in months. I needed to see Mulan. Are you kidding me? Especially one that I really, really wanted to see. So, let's cut right to the chase. I'm going to tell you out of the gate, I love Mulan, okay? I know that some people aren't as pleased with the live action films, but I'm going to tell you why I love them. But first, if you aren't familiar with Mulan, let me just give you a little bit of background. So the 2020 Mulan from Disney is directed by Niki Caro, and it brings the epic tale of China's legendary warrior to life in Mulan. A fearless young woman risks everything out of love for her family and her country to become one of the greatest warriors China has ever known. When the Emperor of China issues a decree that one man per family must serve in the Imperial Army to defend the country from northern invaders, Hua Mulan, the eldest daughter of an honored warrior, steps in to take the place of her ailing father. Masquerading as a man, she is tested every step of the way and must harness her inner strength and embrace her true potential. It is in an epic journey that she will transform into an honored warrior and earn her the respect of a grateful nation and a proud father. All right, let's just get this out of the way. The new 2020 live-action Mulan is not the same as the cartoon from, I think, 1998. This is great. This is the Disney classic we grew up with. But that doesn't mean the live action has to be the same thing, nor should it be. And I completely agree that I love most of the live actions that have been made. They've just brought the stories back to life, the ones I love from childhood, and I love seeing them depicted in a new visual way with some of my favorite actors. But I like it when they add a little, new twist on things, a new little flavor. I don't want to watch the exact scene for scene movie in a live action form, which is kind of what Lion King did. And if I'm being honest, Lion King was not my favorite live action remake. If you want to know what my favorite live action remakes were, I'd say definitely Beauty and the Beast, because that's one of my favorite movies growing up, and I just think they did it so well. And the other is probably Cinderella. And what I would say about Cinderella, which I think is similar to Mulan, they didn't hold as many of the characteristics of the cartoon into the live action film. So with Mulan, there's no Mushu, there's no grandmother. Cricket is not a cricket, not an insect, but he's an actual person in the army with Mulan. Mulan doesn't cut her hair. What else? There's different aspects about the cartoon movie. No songs. Not really any humor, okay? And that's what makes a live action movie better because of it. It is not trying to replicate the cartoon. It is its own thing. And I think we need to look at them that way too. We can love this one, and the new live action movie is its own thing. It's a new retelling of the story from a new perspective for a new generation. And I think that's the way to go. I don't want scene for scene remakes, and I think Mulan did a great job at not doing that. The new Mulan has absolutely beautiful, from the scenery to the costumes to the sets The actors and actresses were great. Honestly, everything was just so visually top notch that I would recommend watching this movie just on that fact alone. Even if you're not familiar with the story or didn't like the cartoon, it is just breathtaking the way they shot it, the cinematography. I think everything about it was beautiful. So one of my favorite things about the new Mulan is the villain, which is the witch, the woman who is working with Boricon, the villain of the film. And he has this witch who is helping him and aiding him in his attacks, and she is just very powerful, and she can sneak into places easily and kind of manipulate situations. She can also transform into a hawk. And so her and Mulan actually have a lot in common. I want to read you guys a quote from the movie because I think it just sets this up so perfectly. So really it's a question of what makes someone a witch, right? The beginning of the movie, Mulan has a conversation with her father about her chi, which is very strong. And her father tells her everyone is born with chi, Mulan, but not everyone harnesses it and strengthens it and whatnot. But he does tell her chi is for a warrior. It's for a man. And he goes on to say, your chi is strong, Mulan, but chi is for warriors, not daughters. Soon, you'll be a young woman and it is time for you to hide your gift away, to silence its voice. And I say this to protect you. That is my job. Your job is to bring honor to the family. And earlier in this scene, he actually had a conversation with his wife where she says, people will think she's a witch. And it's just one of those things where women weren't allowed in this film to harness their chi outwardly. And if they did, they were a witch. So we see this actual witch, and I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the Hawk Witch, we will call her.
I could tear you to pieces before you blink.
She is so much like Mulan, where she had strong chi, her abilities grew, and she was cast out by her people. She was exiled, and she, you know, didn't have a country, didn't have a people, didn't have a family. And when Boricon embraced her, she felt accepted, and she lent her abilities to him, in this case for evil. Now, when she and Mulan meet, there is a really cool scene where they face off. Mulan is still dressed as a man, and she says to Mulan, who are you? And Mulan keeps saying, I'm Hua Jun. I am a soldier in the Emperor's Imperial Army. And the witch says to her,
you will die pretending to be something you're not.
And so she leaves thinking she actually killed Hua Jun. And there is another great quote, which is actually a voiceover from Mulan's father. And it says, and Hua Jun did die. For a lie can only live so long, but Mulan lived. And so at this point, we see that she didn't really die because she's wrapped up kind of in her leather straps and whatnot to kind of make her look more like a man, flatten herself out. And that stopped the blade from hitting Mulan. But this time, Mulan embraced herself. And this is when she enters into battle as Mulan, and everyone discovers that she is a woman. But throughout all of this, there are a lot of similarities between the Witch and Mulan. You know, they both have this power, this inner strength that they aren't allowed to tap into because of society, because of culture, because they're considered a witch if they do. There is another scene where the witch says to Mulan, you saved them today, and still they turned on you. You are just at the beginning of your power. Merge your path with mine, and we will be stronger together. But Mulan says, no, I am a soldier in the Imperial Army. I'm not joining you for your mischief. And they part ways. And this is the first part where I was like, man, the Hawk Witch just let her go. Like, she recognized that they were similar. She saw herself in Mulan. And when Mulan turned her down, she didn't just do the evil villain thing where, you know, they try to get each other the whole time. But she let her go. And she let her do her own thing, which I thought was really powerful. So flash forward, Mulan goes back to the army and she says, hey, we were wrong. Boricon is actually going to get the Emperor right now. And in that moment, there's a scene where, you know, do they accept Mulan for who she is as a woman, or do they cast her out? Do they kill her, which is what they said they would do? That would be the penalty, death, if she returned. And they do embrace her, and they acknowledge that your loyalty and bravery are without question. Like, lead us into battle, Mulan, which is a very girl power moment, right? So they head on in to save the emperor. And when the witch finds out, she says, impossible. A woman leading a man's army? And Mulan says, yeah, you're right. We are the same. And the witch says, no, there's one difference. They accept you, but they will never accept me. And Mulan goes on to say, no, like, join me. It's not too late for you. And the Hawk Witch says, no, it's too late. Like, I'm out. And she goes on to save Mulan's life. She takes an arrow for her because she sees herself in Mulan. And she sees that Mulan has the opportunity at a future with family and country and everything that she wanted, acceptance. And she chooses to help Mulan on this journey versus to take Mulan down. And I just think that's so powerful that she recognized their similarities. They weren't on the same side. And instead of trying to tear Mulan down, she built Mulan up. And I just think, like, oh, that scene was that so in the heart for me, right? So I really, really like the addition of the witch. Now, if you know how to say her name, please tell me in the comments, because I know that's driving me crazy that I keep saying that, so apologies. Now, a lot of people also were a little bummed out that there was no music in Mulan or original songs, right, singing. But I will say that there was in the background with the soundtrack a trickle of reflection when Mulan is going through her journey of self-discovery and realizing her potential and who she was. And if you listen closely when she's at the pond, and then there's a couple other scenes where she's coming to grips with like who she is, you'll hear reflection on the piano or just like in the soundtrack music, and oh, that's powerful. So keep an eye out for that. Well, there may not be a singing song in the movie. There is mentions of the original one, which I really like the callback to that. With every movie, there's always ways they could improve. I do agree that in the cartoon, we get to have some fun interactions with the other soldiers before they know she is a woman, and I think that does a lot for character development. Some of that does feel rushed, or maybe it just doesn't feel as substantial because it is very serious, and some of the jokes played a long way, I think, in showing their relationships in the cartoon and, you know, forming that bond between them. But overall, guys, I really liked Mulan. I really liked Mulan, the character. I thought that she was just so great, and I think she was, you know, loyal, brave, and true. And I think she had this awesome power with her chi, which everyone has, but she just harnessed it and embraced it as herself, especially when she decided to be Mulan. And I loved it. So what did you guys think? Did you purchase Premiere Access to watch Mulan? Are you gonna wait till December? Are you a fan of the live action remakes, right? That's a lot of what it comes down to, I feel like, when I'm having conversations or reading articles. If people don't like the live action remakes ever, I don't think they're gonna like Mulan, because I think there's some live action remake haters out there, and they just aren't gonna like any of them because they want to keep the classics intact. They are kind of the sacred movie, which I agree with, but I think they're not untouchable, and I think it's really great to retell them in a new light. But I'm really excited to hear what you guys think. Please tell me in the comments, did you watch Mulan? Did you like it as much as I did? And will you be watching it again? Because to tell you the truth, I already watched it like 2 times this weekend. Maybe more. Maybe I will more in the future. So that's everything I have for you today, guys. If you want to flip through some of the most powerful quotes in the movie, I've got a link below to the best Mulan quotes. Thank you so much for watching this movie review. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below if you enjoyed it. I've got tons of trailers and interviews and recipes inspired by my favorite fandoms. I'm Monica, and thanks so much for watching.